Jeremy was falsely accused of a crime, but the real shock came when he uncovered the police's attempt to bribe the judge. Determined to expose the truth, he fought back. What he did next will leave you stunned. But let's start from the beginning. In a quiet suburban neighborhood, Jeremy, a black man in his mid-30s, has built a modest life as a taxi driver. He's spent years working tirelessly, living honestly despite the systemic struggles that come with being a person of color in a predominantly white community. His days are simple, filled with regular fares, small talk, and the comfort of a routine that keeps him grounded. Yet, his world is turned upside down when, one night, he is falsely accused of a robbery he didn't commit. The police arrive with little more than a vague description, and without question, Jeremy is arrested. The officers, more eager to close the case than to seek the truth, immediately target him based on the color of his skin. They never bother to check his alibi or question the inconsistencies in their evidence. As he's taken into custody, Jeremy feels the crushing weight of systemic racism. The officers' dismissive and prejudiced attitudes only reaffirm what he's known his whole life. In their eyes, his innocence doesn't matter. But as Jeremy sits in the holding cell, things take a darker turn. He overhears two officers discussing their plan to bribe the judge overseeing his case. They speak in hushed tones, strategizing how to manipulate the legal system and ensure Jeremy's conviction. The realization hits him like a bolt. Not only is he being framed, but the very justice system that's supposed to protect him is part of the conspiracy. Fueled by a mix of anger and resolve, Jeremy decides he will not go down without a fight. He begins meticulously gathering information about the judge, the police officers involved, and the case details. His determination grows stronger. He will clear his name and expose the corrupt system working against him. With each piece of evidence he uncovers, he takes a step closer to turning the tide. Desperate to fight back, Jeremy reaches out to his old friend Tim, a seasoned journalist with a reputation for investigating police corruption and racial injustice. Tim, who has spent years exposing the darker sides of the justice system, is shocked by the details Jeremy shares. But he's also determined to help. Together, they begin digging into the case, focusing on the police officers involved and the judge at the center of the corruption. Tim uses his journalistic connections to gather confidential records and interview key witnesses, slowly piecing together the evidence that points directly to a bribery scheme meant to seal Jeremy's fate. As the investigation progresses, media reports about systemic police corruption start gaining widespread attention. News outlets pick up the story, and social media buzzes with outrage over the blatant injustice. Hashtags like #JusticeForJeremy begin to trend, and the case becomes a flashpoint in the ongoing conversation about racial bias in law enforcement. Protests in support of Jeremy erupt, with people from all walks of life demanding accountability for the officers involved. The public outcry only grows louder, and the pressure on the judicial system intensifies. Amidst the mounting chaos, Jeremy finds unwavering support from his family and community, who rally around him with love and solidarity. Their support becomes his anchor, reminding him of the power of unity in the face of adversity. His sense of purpose strengthens as he realizes he's not just fighting for his freedom, but for justice on behalf of countless others who have been victims of racial bias. Meanwhile, the police continue their covert operations, trying to sway the judge with promises of political favor. But as more details of their corruption leak to the press, the judge begins to falter. Rumors swirl that the entire case is a setup, and his conscience is slowly awakened. The mounting public pressure forces the judge to reconsider his position, leaving Jeremy to realize that his battle has transcended personal vengeance. His fight is now a symbol of the larger struggle against systemic racism within the justice system. The day of the trial finally arrives, and Jeremy knows this is the moment when everything will be decided. The air in the courtroom is heavy with tension as the case draws national attention due to its potential to reveal the deep flaws within the justice system. Jeremy's lawyer, Michael, an experienced attorney who's been shaken by the corruption uncovered, is ready to fight with everything he's got. He stands firm in his conviction that Jeremy's case is more than just a wrongful arrest. It's a clear example of the systemic racism embedded in law enforcement. As the trial progresses, the stakes become painfully clear. The courtroom is packed, and every eye is on Jeremy, the black man at the heart of a fight for justice. With the pressure mounting, he makes a bold decision. He will take the stand and share his story. His voice shakes, but his resolve is unwavering as he recounts the harrowing events leading to his wrongful arrest. He speaks of the police officers who ignored his innocence, accused him without cause, and treated him like a criminal simply because of his skin color. His words strike a chord with everyone in the room, and it becomes evident that his case is about more than just one man's struggle. It's a painful reflection of racial injustice in the system. Just as the tension reaches its peak, a stunning twist occurs. One of the officers who had been involved in the investigation steps forward, surprising everyone. He confesses to his role in the conspiracy, revealing intimate details of a secret meeting where the officers discussed bribing the judge to ensure Jeremy's conviction. His testimony exposes the corruption at the heart of the case, validating Jeremy's claims. The revelation sends shockwaves through the courtroom, and Tim, Jeremy's friend and journalist, wastes no time in spreading the news. The media explodes with the story, and public opinion quickly turns against the police and the judge. Jeremy's battle for justice is no longer just his. It has become a fight for all those oppressed by a corrupt system. In a moment of unexpected clarity, the judge finally succumbs to the mounting pressure. The overwhelming weight of the evidence, coupled with the relentless public outcry, forces him to take action. With the courtroom holding its breath, the judge dismisses the attempt to bribe Jeremy's conviction. In a rare display of accountability, he publicly acknowledges the systemic corruption that had been allowed to fester in the police force and the court system. The officers involved in the scheme are sentenced to face the consequences of their actions, their badges and authority no longer shielding them from justice. While Jeremy's legal battle ends in a hard-earned victory, the relief is tempered by the sobering realization that his fight is far from over. As the courtroom empties, the full scope of the injustice hits him. Racism, he knows, is not just an isolated incident. It's a pervasive, systemic issue that will not be eradicated with just one conviction. The system that failed him so profoundly is still in place, still hurting people like him every day. Jeremy feels the weight of this truth settle in, a constant reminder that the struggle for justice is ongoing, and he can't simply walk away. In the final scene, Jeremy is surrounded by the people who have stood by him throughout the ordeal. His family, his friends, and the community that rallied behind him. They embrace him, their voices rising in celebration of his triumph. But Jeremy's mind is elsewhere. As he looks out at the faces of those who supported him, he realizes that this victory is not just his own. It belongs to everyone who has ever been silenced by the injustices of the world. With a quiet resolve, Jeremy understands his next step. He vows to dedicate the rest of his life to fighting for those who are still trapped in a broken system. Inwardly, he feels changed. The fight for justice, for truth, has only just begun.